Before we have done chapter 1 to 2, 3 to 4, and 5 to 6. Those were all in Act 1. These will be the first two chapters of Act 2. If you want to know the story up to now, and I think it's actually important to listen to those at least up to chapter 4 to get the understanding of chapter 7. The Trial of 200 chapter will be focused on the dynamics surrounding the event in chapter 3 outside the Congress. This is chapter 7 and 8 of the Exodus. I hope you enjoy. Act 2, Shattering a Glass. Prelude, Unreality and a Shattering of the Glass. Reality and norms, fragments of the ego which makes perceptions, is what of real or not. Power, influence, morality and ethics, all within a subjective realm. Just as some delude themselves to be gods among ants, while some that are gods among ants reject the power of God, while others are blind to who God is and who is an ant unable to know their position. The fragment of what one follows, admires and worships determines what is really in their personal world. Glass, fragile yet strong, protecting from the sun's radiation and the tyranny of the wind, yet can be shattered with a singular strike. In a coordinated manner, an act of great violence can destroy the glass as if it never existed, shattering it into 100 pieces unable to be reconstructed. Identity and loyalty is much like glass. It has a foundation that can't be questioned if it protects the person, giving the person a sense of security when that foundation is destroyed, and a great societal violence erupts with the foundation. The security collective becomes a security collective of 100 shards, disjointed and disunified. Tyranny of the old can be replaced, be it rapid or slowly. Replaced by a new tyranny, a new reality, a new glass wall around the reality of the people, and can be destroyed just as fast as the old tyranny. Weapons laws in mention changes from the Emergency Congress of 2009. Religious Regulations of 2009. Additional article in Chapter 1, Article 6. This is also accounting for the alterations, changing some article names here and there to account for it. Working with the foundation of Article 3, no organization, individual may give aid or support in activities that disrupt public order, impair health of citizens, or interfere with the educational system of the state, or in any other activities that harm state security or public interests, or citizens' lawful rights and interests. Punishment for supporting and aiding will be a minimal term of 10 years imprisonment or more severe cases. Execution extending to non-governmental organizations and foreign national organizations or groups. Additional article in Chapter 6, Article 48. Working with Article 40, where anyone makes use of religion to engage in such legal activities as to endanger state or public security, infringe upon citizen rights of the person and democratic rights, obstructs the administration of public order, or encroach upon public or private property, and the crime is thus constituted. It shall be investigated for criminal liability according to law. Any support for the Earth Trust Allowance organization or Earth Trust Allowance aligned groups, be they civilian, military, or economic, will result in immediate arrest resulting in a minimum of 10-year prison sentence, or in cases where they are ringleaders, execution. extending to non-governmental organizations and foreign national organizations or groups. Additional Article 649. Article 49. Any cases or law cases involving the Earth Trust Labs organization will have Article 47 made void, and the case or encounter be managed by the Cult Regulations of 2009, extending to non-governmental organizations and foreign national organizations or groups. Other changes were made to the 2004 framework, with fines and limitations altered. Articles 6, 48 and 49 were reformed to combat the ETA specifically. Other laws will be changed, but they'll be mentioned more so in the story where relevant. Chapter 7. The Trial of 200. On TV, CCTV News was covering news of the day. News came to the case of the PLA arrests and the 2009 Emergency Congress. Two news presenters were covering the story. Video footage of the arrests was shown behind them, excluding the gunshots being fired. The warning shots then switching to the end of the handcuffing of the protesters, with the reporters saying, "There has now been a confirmation by police that the protester group Beyond Horizon will be facing a closed trial in the Supreme People's Court. The group is made of Chinese nationals, South Korean nationals, and American nationals. The case will be a historical hallmark in legal history, as the people detained are going to be tried under new laws announced recently in 2009 National People's Congress. The new laws have sweeping implications if found. The over 100 activists will be sentenced to a minimum of 10 years in prison. They are charged specifically under Article 6 and 48 of the Religious Regulations of 2009. There has been complaints from some of the families raised in South Korea and to the South Korean and American governments to pressure them to demand a release of the foreign national activists. The children of the Chinese nationals are being supported in a time of need, with arrangements of alternative living arrangements being negotiated. Foreign Minister Yang Jiechi issued a statement citing the clause of the new laws not having foreigners exempt from it, with him saying that the action was done with the People's Republic of China, within the People's Republic of China, and under laws, anything done in alignment with the ETO will be punished as equal to Chinese laws. We have as Chief Justice of the Supreme People's Court to provide more insight into what has been done at the prosecution. How would you say the dynamics of the new laws will impact the outcome of the court case? Then, of course, leading up to the event, there was the response from the Chief Justice, in which they said, for the question, it depends on the proceedings come to criminal liability. When it comes to the cases where national security could be involved, the freshness of the laws could also impact. Do you see a chance that the convictions could happen then? Potentially. But if you ask between the lower range of 10 years in execution and predicting what was 10-year sentencing, I thank you for your time, Chief Justice. Protest leader perspective. Being held in detainment with time to reflect on the past few days. Not thinking beforehand that his activism would have resulted in a criminal liability in a foreign land. The case was explained clearly to him by legal experts within prison. Towards them, with the collective being given detailed explainers, the law that they were being held under, a sense of knowing of the future came over them. In the case of the leader, Born in America, a history of activism led him to where he was today. Generally progressive politics, campaigns against Chinese oppression, friends being linked to the Free Tibet movement. The events in Tibet in 2008 made him politically active. The March 14th incident flared up his activism within his friendship circle. This scene is not necessarily an absolute truth in history or narrative, but rather the perspective of the main character in this scene itself, which is the protest leader. So if facts do alter from actual reality, it's not my endorsement of that, but rather what the character in the story thinks is truth. Flashback from protest leader, United States. The 2008 Tibetan uprising begun, wanting to have autonomy for Tibet. Tibet's freedoms was given new focus. News around the event spread like wildfire. Major protests occurred, attending some of them in Washington DC. Collaboration between China and America made tensions with activist groups high. Demands that the American government cut communication and cooperation with China was at a fever pitch. The feeling that everyone was fighting for justice and fighting against injustice fed activism into a fanatical drive. A loud shouting and passions of the protesters condemned China was present with the new news that there were another group facing genocide. The passions of social justice spread amongst the group. News then came about the organization behind the Tibetan protests. About a new Congress in Beijing. A user who did not identify themselves spread information to that group. That the Communist Party plant exposed the event, which led to a major massacre of a minority group. The group targeted with multiple people killed by the Chinese authorities was unknown to them, but for those in America, the positions of the Tibet movement and other ethnic group positions dominated. Concerned that another group would face ethnic cleansing, a directive was made that the group would directly attend Beijing's Congress to expose to the world where cameras can't hide the evils of ethnic cleansing done by the Communist Party. So social justice and equality was the main drive behind their push. Not getting approval or support from America, it was then taken as a sign that the American government was taken by the Communist Charm Offensive. Protests against the Kuomintang in Taiwan also had the same feel. The DPP having a focus on having condemnation of Chinese actions being the main focus. With the eyes on the world of Beijing for that one day, it was decided the actions was needed to make a statement, actively protest and revitalize the spirit of the 1989 protests which stood up for democracy in China. The ones who communicated the acts decided no matter what, or with or without government support, they would go and make the most active protests against Chinese human rights violations. Breaking from his daydream in the cell, his door opened. Mark Anderson, you're wanted. Getting up, the door opened, and Mark followed the guard, asking the guard about the nature of the meeting. He asked directly. Mark Anderson, what is the nature of this meeting? Is it about parole, release, or trial? Prison guard. Trial date. Also, you have a Ministry of Public Security official wanting to ask you questions. Mark Anderson. So, an interrogation. How typical. Prison guard. I don't know. Not my job to know. I'm here to escort you to the office. The MPS affairs are the own and above my position. Also, have some respect. You're the one who got here in the wrong. Mark Anderson. Okay. I accept I was partially wrong. Is there any news about release or lawyers yet? Prison guard. Again, not my job to know the information. The meeting was ordered by the Minister of Public Security. Mark was escorted in into the office, offered a coffee and some food, with him in front of them, a official reading over documentation. Prison office. MPS official. Luxembourg. Let's start with basic news. Your trial will be in 1 week's time. Under Article 549 of the Religious Regulations of 2009, you are not able to get a lawyer. Mark Addison. Why? MPS official. There is suspicion that your action was prompted by an ETO action. Just to be clear, you are not detained for your activities within criticism of the CPC. Your links to the Tibet movement, however, if continued to push, it could have been a potential violation. But regardless, you are here as your compatriots has been questioned, and one thing with the Congolese incident we suspect links you to the ETO. Mark Anderson. I've respected the ETO in my entire life. I will proudly admit my connections to the Free Tibet movement, but I have never encountered ETO. I don't even know who they are. MPS official. Can you be so sure? Mark Anderson. Yes, I did not say anyone there aligned to them. Everyone affiliated with its groups you know about. MPS official. I say, there is an issue here, as one key details of the source of your motivations. You got the information from a source who did not disclose who they are, right? Mark Anderson. Yes, the report was done by someone who did not disclose identity, but the information I felt was valid. MPS official. I'm saying that due to the years of biased activism, which had extreme prejudice against China, or are you saying that from a more observable measure? Mark Anderson, I do not understand what you mean by that question. Going on by saying, don't see prejudice impacting anything here. Don't bring me into sorry. Sorry. Observe measure. Okay, I'm back on track now. Sorry about that. Mark Anderson. I do not understand what you mean by that question. Don't see prejudice impacting anything here. Don't bring me here to chastise me. The MPS official. Either way, that's not the point. We need to understand the nature of the original message. Mark Anderson. And give me one reason why I should help you. MPS official. If you cooperate, you'll be deported back to America to be sentenced for 10 years or risk execution. Isn't that enough of an incentive for your activism within Australia? We can't help. By activism here, which was ETO, we can help, and it does directly affect us. Mark Anderson. So good work for the sentence. MPS official. Yes. And once you do so, you'll be deported and have a 40-year ban on re-entry that extends to Macau, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. Trust me, this is the best option of what is available to you in this situation. Giving you the exact details of how you got the information. Your compatriots are not so lucky, and will be fully punished by the laws, but if the information is good enough, you can return home. Mark Anderson. You know, if that happens, it will look bad on me. People will see me as a lunatic. It will undermine my social status. What will I say if I agree anyway and ask me? MPS official. You don't need to think anything. You were released. Just say that. This is a one-time offer, Mark. You're on time. You're on time in some way to return home within 10 years. Isn't that enough of an advantage? Mark Anderson. Can you let me think this is an action which will result in being essentially abandoning my principles? Can't you see that? Interrupting Mark. The MPS official took a firmer stance, showing 3 pictures his way. I suppose this will help you think faster. It isn't a case of simple activism here, it is a case of violation of state security and dealing with terrorism. The eyes of Mark Anderson had a confusion in them, and a visible confusion of the scenes. Does this pen look familiar? No. Highlighting the second photo. Who are they? Mark Anderson. Who are these? Why are they so violent? MPS official. These are groups that claim to be innocent. They were armed with at least 20 combatants and multiple high-yield bombs. What are they then? I don't understand. The firmness in voices raised. MPS official. Your affiliation with the Free Threat Movement is different from your affiliation with the ETO. Anderson. Your principles, when you support terrorism, would lead you to execution if you are genuine about supporting ETO. MPS official. Let me ask you then, are you willing to let yourself suffer for a lie or live forward? Is it an act of mercy? Yeah. And at the end of the day, you have been misguided now, and you still have a future ahead of you. Choose to live a better life for yourself, or suffer due to lies, which is to hate against China. Which is it, Mark Anderson? Mark Anderson. Fine, I'm forced to accept, aren't I? I received information about me through an email. It gave specific dates and times with pictures of people's armed police killing unarmed civilians, and a gathering with banners in the background, as you highlighted. It also came with video footage attached to a smoke grenade being thrown into the group when they were holding a religious ceremony. The video then showed a senior police officer flanked by people's armed police around shooting in the air. The same one as these, highlighting the third picture. Mark Anderson looks down in shame. Yes it is. Did the video show the comparing weapons? Mark Anderson. No, not at all. It only showed people armed police and a commander of the armed attack. Nothing about weapons on the group side. Only a one-sided depiction. It then showed an explosion of the building where people were retreating. MPS official. So making it out that the conflict was done purely by the Chinese state, right? Also, did it have any sound attached? Mark Anderson. Yes, it only showed that safe forces had entered buildings, and no, there was no audio with it. With it had a message. The Communist Party sent a spy in. Then ordered the execution of peaceful religious gatherers. Spread the truth, communist genocide has come once more. Well, take a stand and oppose the Communist Party. Mark Anderson. I really don't know. I really didn't. You have to believe me. Nothing was mentioned about them having guns or explosives at any point of the time. MPS official. I know you didn't know. It has been kept a tight state secret. Its being out means there are ETO survivors from the event. Mark Anderson. Was the base footage then correct then? MPS official. I guess you deserve to know at least some answers given your dilemma. Partially not. But where the truth is, and where the facts got wrong is not your main focus. What happened here, Mark Anderson, is a prejudice against China led you to believe a altered narrative without factual evidence. Yes, the People's Armed Police rated the event as they were a terrorist group. Mark Anderson. So my side is secured now? MPS official. Yes, you gave me your actual honesty and you'll be deported for 40 years and avoid jail. Enjoy your freedom and I hope you learned a key lesson from this. Mark Anderson. But why aren't the others being let go? MPS official. They refuse to cooperate for the most part. Some are allies to the terrorists and others deny everything. Mark Anderson. So we were deceived. Why were we deceived? MPS official. That's a question I don't have an answer to, but an answer you have to find in yourself, in reflection, surely. The meeting ended with the official giving a sign to the guards to let Mark go, with him saying before he left, "Thank you, Mark. He gave some critical information that can help the fight against ETO. Know you served to fight back against ETO very well." Mark Anderson walked away, going back to his holding cell. Report to Shingal from the Ministry of Public Security. After the interrogation, a report was written up directed to the office of Shingal, and its contents are the following. Report to the office of Shingal from the Ministry of Public Security. Upon request from the Minister of Public Security, the foundations behind the 2009 Congress protest has been decoded. This is being advanced to you due to the findings of the investigation. The Georgia activists were given priority status for investigation. The findings shown that the cause for the action was founded upon an ETO leak. The methodology was explained by the protest leader Mark Anderson. The price for the explanation was a promise of him being not sentenced to prison time, but rather expelling out of the country. One major concern raised by multiple people was that activists were individually targeted, as the ETO has been targeting specific kinds of activists. The ETO seems to be using the events in Tibet to push a new propaganda blitz, as they have created a major video distortion of the raid which captured the ETO's leader. Common themes done by 50% of the activists outlined in at least 4 commonalities. 1. Pushing up anti-communist narratives, blaming the events and using the deaths of the members upon the CPC by a plant. 2. Targeting activists who already primed to accept anti-Chinese bias in their actions. 3. The ETO hiding their militarism done by the Adventist faction. 4. Posters of ETO propaganda are hidden in their identities. Areas where the other half of activists had the following observations that 1. Activists use networks to promote the spread of ETO propagandistic ideals. Half of the activists did not know the original source and were joining friends. They were self-funded and acting against the desires of each for the government. Low rates of them conceding information upon interrogation. A more advanced report of findings will be submitted later with more details. Further investigation will need to be done. Tracking of the source of the leak is a top priority to have investigative focus. Potential safe one involvement is possible given the accuracy of description. The secondary focus is on finding the original footage, as there is a case needing to understand the laws and the nature of the propaganda. The four lines of possibility is local ETO members surviving the raid, led by Dashi, leaking information to other ETO survivors not at the event in China. 2. Local ETO members surviving the lead, led by Dashi, leaking the information to other ETO survivors not at the event outside of China. 3. Some method Trisolarian safe ones had in giving information to ETO either within China or outside of China. Or 4. Police leak intended to expose the event in solidarity with separatist groups violating laws around national security. Furthermore, the investigation is recommended to take alongside a proposition to allow leaks of ETO members. So, creation of multiple leaking sites to allow citizens to advance identification of potential ETO members without risking their lives. Perspective from families protesting in South Korea. Outside the Chinese embassy in Seoul, a protest was organized by the families of the imprisoned activists. Reporters from NBC News interviewed some of the protesters. Tensions in the Republic of Korea in some was there as two elements of the launching of several short-range missiles into the Sea of Japan, as well as the underground nuclear tests, was done by the northern neighbor. Protests about the detainment of the activists was made worse with the declaration by Hu Jintao declaring in 2009 that 2009 is the year of China-DPRK relations. The People's Liberation Army detainment of unarmed protesters made in some a sense of anger. For the families, their primary concern was about the safety of relatives. The core line from interviews that stuck out the most was, "We compelled the government to petition the Chinese government to demand the immediate release of family members. Protesting is not a crime, not even under Chinese law, and illegal detainment of a family member shows a great concern. To the Chinese government and President Hu Jintao, we plead for a sense of humanity." The protest was peaceful, with protesters moving on afterwards. Perspective from families protesting in America. Within America, the Chinese embassy in Washington, D.C. had, similarly to South Korea, a family-led protest. One media turning up recording the events. The call, however, was focused on sanctions on China. Evangelical religions took the banner of leading the protest. The family's remarks was focused on human rights issues, with them saying, "Enough is enough. We've tolerated abuse of China for far too long. We are here today in front of the media and everyone else to promote human rights. Our children have been kidnapped by China. Our beloved people have been abandoned by our government. President Obama, please commit to your principles of American freedom and fight for democracy in China." Perspective of Li Mingzhu. In his Silence for Study, Li Mingzhu was focusing on the reorganization of the ETO. Breaking the silence, he had a voice speak to him. Using a sophon, Trisolarian communication was done. Trisolarian Fleet Command Officer Li Mingzhu is seen to have been chosen by remnants. Responding to the voice in his head by saying, "Li Mingzhu, who is this? And how are you able to talk to me, directly to me?" Trisolarian Command Officer. It is the Lord Shu. It is your great and divine Lord. Thinking about it, saying back, Li Mingzhu, "So you've abandoned us? Was Marshal wrong?" Trisolarian Fleet Command Officer. "We can never leave you alone. As long as these safe ones exist, we exist. The event isn't a curse entirely. You have to understand that there was weaklings within the previous organization. The purification of the ETO can strengthen it." Li Mingzhu, "How is that good? Don't you want our victory?" Trisolarian Fleet Officer. "Our victory will be absolute no matter what. Your weakness, you need to manage." Li Mingzhu. Li Mingzhu, elaborate. Trisolarian Fleet Command Officer. "You know the protest was sprung has been decoded, right? Let me clarify. Did you release any propaganda?" Li Mingzhu, "No." Trisolarian Fleet Command Officer. "Please don't lie, Li Mingzhu." Li Mingzhu, "I really am not lying." Trisolarian Fleet Command Officer. "Well, just to give you a warning. The Ministry of Public Security know about propaganda targeting government made using the events to capture of Ye, and they already have reported that information back to the Ministry of State Security." Li Mingzhu, can you give some clarity? What do you mean by that? Truslarian Fleet Command Officer, isn't it obvious? It means you need to get act together if you want to become the ETO commander. Li Mingzhu, I'm busy day in and day out. Don't insult me. Truslarian Fleet Commander, I said no insult. Work harder. Li Mingzhu, so you want me to look for a phantom of what I don't know about, and then tell me to work harder, not knowing what I'm looking for? Truslarian Fleet Command Officer, you know we can't lie, and we know you can. Lessons learned from Mike Evans and others that came before you showing that you humans are liars. Li Mingzhu, I'm not lying to you, Lord. I am genuinely confused. I have no idea what you're on about. What propaganda? Answer me. Truslarian Fleet Command Officer, seems we don't know. Maybe we could wait more than Evans. Evans confused us with his lying nature at all times. Li Mingzhu, what do you mean by that, Lord? Truslarian Fleet Command Officer, he was talking about two-faced nature of humanity. Li Mingzhu, if he said that, he is correct in that regard. That case, regardless, though. Truslarian Fleet Command Officer, everything that I was talking about humans will fight and oppose each other, killing each other over small differences. Li Mingzhu, more so humanity enslaved itself by worship of reliance and of economics. People chain themselves to seeing money to survive, and yet living and not living at the same time. Truslarian Fleet Commander, what do you mean by that, Commander Shu? Li Mingzhu, by that I mean people seek freedom. To get freedom, they seek money. To be able to afford freedom, to get money, they have to sacrifice freedom to enhance another person's freedom. They work until another person's directive to get money, accumulates and hope to get freedom. They work until old and die. Also, if you can argue this, which might seem a distant idea to you, Machiavelli said, where we assume the world is a certain way because in that ought to be, as well as saying the truth is that people do awful things, devious and dusty things all the time, and he is here to remove our blindfolds and have us see the real world in all its gritty glory. Truslarian Fleet Command Officer, I don't understand your obsession with such things. In any case, Commander Shu, you know your task. And no, it could be harder. Don't count on communication with us. Preserve ETO's existence for now. With the contact between the fleet and him done, not knowing of when and where there would be any further contact, it was decided that it was urgent to contact other senior survivors, leaving Marshall out of the issue. Day of the trial. Outside the venue, media once more was building up to the stairs. The court. For the media, attention led to the increased viewership. The major events led to the electrification of conspiracy theories. The announcement that none of the 200 members of Beyond Horizon NGO Breeder made some within the media circles not attend, giving it less priority. The triarched gate entry having guards checking everyone entering. Increased security measures was enacted, having strict searches of everyone. Within the complex there was 4 WC-551 Type 92 armored personnel carriers. Reports about use of infantry fighting vehicles got some people credence about claims of intimidation elements in legal proceedings. In previous reports, the People's Armed Police said in statements that they will have security forces in the premise as a counter ETO revenge killings, saying, to clear things up, yes, there will be armed troops at the venue, but only to act as a counter-terrorism force if needed. The proceedings within the Supreme Court will not be altered in any way with the presence of the People's Armed Police. Adding onto the statement with a voice of urgency, an extra statement was said, we are in time of great crisis, and to ensure justice will function in light of the mitigating certain circumstances. Ensuring that the Chinese legal system does not bow down to the fear of the instability of the situations that will face us is our first priority. To avoid the repeat of the Congress, any protests for or against the NGO was banned. Journalists could attend that were vetted. The people being trialed are kept in detainment, presenting themselves by online and phone contact. Deportation of Mark Anderson. Awaiting his deportation after being escorted back to his cell, his only experience of China. Upon further reflection, the words within interrogation stuck with him. The internal crisis within him was intense. Walking up to the cell, the prison guard spoke. Prison guard, you'll be deported while trial is ongoing. So does it mean I'm going to? Yes. Your last couple of hours. Okay, so I'm going home soon then. As I said, yes. That is all. Moment of deportation. The cell door opened with an order to stay behind the wall. Obeying, Anderson stood back. The push of handcuffs was felt, the clicking of the lock tightening around his hands. A voice spoke from behind him, and then another step sound walking in. Mark Anderson, right? Yes. As you told earlier, your deportation will be done in trial period. That time has come. You will follow me, you will collect your items, and you'll be sent to the airport under close observation. Okay. Now follow me. I'll get you out of the system, and you'll return your items to you. Mark Anderson was escorted out of the cell. Items returned, then placed under guarded transport to be to the airport. I will leave you at the gates of the plane. Don't worry about going through the lines of security, given you have a one-direction flight. Approaching the flight gate, Mark Anderson was held back, with the escort commander approaching. The first lieutenant first showing the identity card with a written note. The only one communication being followed instructions listed. Understood. Turning to Mark Anderson, giving a signal to the guards around him. You're free to go now, Anderson. Your handcuffs will be unlocked now, and you will go onto this flight and talk to no one in the flight except staff on the flight for food and drinks for this period of this flight. A police officer unlocks the handcuffs, with two police officers ensuring that he walks towards the gate. Goodbye, Mr. Anderson. The sounding of the closing of the gates of entry and the starting of the plane signaled his 40-year years of no return. He never returned and died of an inherited disease within 30 years. Mark Anderson died at the age of 56 years old. Supreme People's Court trial. The trial of the activists is ongoing. The trial involving new landmark laws announced and passed in the National Youth Congress of 2009 made the dynamics of the trial more important. The case is a patient zero of the new regulations. The doors to the courtroom opened with the relevant witnesses entering. The public was barred from entry, with only press allowed in, with restrictions on access. The case was overseen by five judge counsel and an overseeing judge. Who would decide the fate of the detained activists. The events made restrictions to be imposed with security of focus. The attendance to the legal representatives sat behind them, ready to dispatch documents to judges. Translators and attendants to activists in separate locations was ready. The judge leading the court and starting the trial. You are here to be trialed under new laws within the Religious Regulations Act of 2009. As you have been advised under Article 59, your right to legal protection is but it's revoked. You will be allowed to answer questions under cross-examination when called upon. Can you gesture to attendants to distribute the folders highlighting evidence? The evidence is now before you. The written confession of Mark Anderson is under Appendix 2. The written confession of another member here within the trial is also written in Appendix 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. The report from PLA on the matter is Appendix 1. The report from the Ministry of Public Security is in Appendix 3, 4, and 5. The police reports about the incident of the event of the Congress is Appendix 6 and 7. And finally, witness statements from the event within the cloud is listed in Appendix 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Taking a breath, focusing with you are here, charged in violation of Articles 6 and 28 of the Religious Regulations of 2009. Proceedings of court activities happened as was routine, with the first witness being called up. The first witness is now required to take their stand, so please may I call up Captain Chun Young to the stand. Standing up a seat, and moving the seat to the witness podium, walking up in his uniform. You are Captain Chun Young, correct? Were you at the scene when the protest happened? Yes, that's correct. Did you order the firing of weapons as per the report submitted to the court? That is correct. Did you do it with intention of killing anyone, or just to discourage the protest? I had no intention of killing anyone. The intention was to disperse them and have them leave the area. So, if they left between the first warning shot and the firing of the 40 rounds, they would have been left alone. Yes, them continuing the protest, given the context, made the protest illegal. So, if it was a non-protest, you would have left them be. And the action was decided upon a framework within your interpretation of the new laws, correct? Yes, it's great honor. Did anyone order the action? Yes, I was ordered to do so by a superior officer. Oh, no, indeed. Open up the questions of course examination, but before that, answer one more question. Did you know about the motivations of the protest? No, I did not. I was only doing my assigned duty of defending the National People's Congress. Requesting to speak, one leader activist wanted to ask a question to Captain Ching Young, with Judge Lariat. Question: what factors then made you dictate the plan of action was over the announcence of a protest? As you know, or not, or may not know, the nature of accusations were accusations unfounded ultimately within the scope of violation of national security laws after the passing of the legislation. Where's Mark Anderson? That I do not know. I only ordered the transfer of him alongside the rest of you to be detained upon the trial. Where is your morals? Enough. I allow you to speak in the spirit of cross-examination in light of special circumstances. Don't push your boundaries. Okay, understand. Do anyone else want to say before I mute your end? No, Your Honor. A sense of resentment was in the tone. Judge G. Captain Chen Yin, where did the orders to shoot live ammunition come from above the heads of the protesters? Not explicitly. That was my own judgment in the matter. The orders are as to disperse the protest. As if they did not disperse, arrest them on the violation of national security laws. Do you see then that the order on your command to release ammunition as an immoral action? Wasn't there a more peaceful means to get them back down or temper themselves? No, there was not. Read over the report I submitted to the higher ups in Appendix 1. I gave the opinions of the peaceful dispersing options. I told them that they could neither not face any punishments, but the leaders of the group escalated the case, making an increased standoff dynamic. I read the report and researched its correct, but why use bullets? As that would scare both civilian population and activists equally. That action was done at my end as it was deemed as a way to de-escalate and capture. If they weren't going to back down, it came down to a choice between protecting the lives of everyone involved. If I didn't do so, there could have been a potential soldier being killed by the protesters and open bloodshed. Does anyone else have any questioning? Oh. No. Thank you for your time, Captain Xingyang. You may sit down again. Is there anything else the defendants want to say? Two of the defendants raised their hands. Judge leading the trial, given the unique nature of the situation, I will allow it. This is a precarious time for us all. Allowing the first person to speak. First speaker. We did not know what the laws would entail. Judge 3. That is wrong. The whole Congress was able to be seen by multiple media sources as well as a means which the Congress provided. Those drafts were put out a week in advance for anyone to access. Speaker 1. So, what do you mean by that? We did not know that. Can't you hold leniency given we were misinformed, Your Honor? Judge 4. No, we cannot. That, what was said about access is correct. So you're saying that our status as foreigners is ignored in this trial, What role of the international human rights impacts things here? Judge 5. It won't. You are here under a national security violation, not under common infringement. If under a common infringement, yes, it would apply. But under this case, on the basis of national security violation, no. The trial continued with other witnesses verifying events. The trial concluded with sentencing came around with the judge vote then happening. Judge Lin held as the votes judge on charge 1 of aiding and assisting terrorist entities. Judge 1, guilty. Judge 2, guilty. Judge 3, guilty. Judge 4, guilty. Judge 5, not guilty. How does the judges vote on charge 2 of acting on behalf of a cult organization? Act 1, Judge 1, guilty. Judge 2, guilty. Judge 3, guilty. Judge 4, guilty. Judge 5, guilty. How does the judges vote on charge 3 of supporting the actions of the ETO by a directive from the ETO? Judge 1, guilty. Judge 2, guilty. Judge 3, guilty. Judge 4, guilty. Judge 5, guilty. How does the judges vote on charge 4 of acting on the foundations of ETO terrorist propaganda? Judge 1, guilty. Judge 2, guilty. Judge 3, guilty. Judge 4, guilty. Judge 5, guilty. How does the judges vote on charge 5 consorting with ETO terrorists? Judge 1, not guilty. Judge 2, not guilty. Judge 3, not guilty. Judge 4, not guilty. Judge 5, guilty. The trial of 200 ended with minimum sentencing of 10 years in prison with education while detained. Chapter 8. The People's Union for Community Development. Perspective of You Now. Development on advancing follow-up from the Shenzhen National Park meeting. The conditions of funding was on accepting Xing Xiaoling as part of second-in-command. Part of the process in thinking made her think in more detail about it being a potential trap. The thought was blocked off immediately, thinking that as an idea is borderline treason, and thinking such a case could risk losing funding when it already has been approved. Breathing in, then thinking in more detail, decided to let contact Xiao Jingling and put aside any suspicions in her heart. Redirecting her focus, she decided to focus the topic on it from a different angle. Instead of seeing potential traps, issues, she saw the opportunities that develop people's lives and promote upward mobility, and the positives that have been allowed. Approaching it from that angle, she then managed to see the topic from a way that promotes the positives of the situation, between the hardship facing the reality of life. Speaking to herself, saying, Am I having this mindset due to the mindset of Bao Zhang or something else? Bao Zhang was an anomaly to her. The truths he spoke was an absolute, yet very much aligned to the principles she has. But something about him made a feeling which she could not explain. The weird feeling that came from her ability to know exactly how to respond, know exactly what to say. It felt like Bao Zhang could see right through her, like she was his puppet. The Rei Bao looked at her, giving her an aura of trust, and also like they knew too much trauma. His eyes showed great despair, and showing off his eyes showed the feeling of death itself. Opening the file about Xiao Jinglin, saying again to herself, Credentials listed within organizational human rights positions, management positions, and in other project management, corporate headhunting. I know we are going to be not going to be a corporation, but this is HR elements can be done from the group. I'm bad at payrolls and managing people in large scale, so maybe. At that point, it was decided that Xiao Ling was decided on, and was also decided that should be contacting Bao Zheng to get some support confirmation on deal to see her feeling about the feelings about the situation beforehand. While working, perspective of Bao Wang. While working, he was called into the office by superior. Walking into the office, a file was awaiting him. Bo Lang, you have a new assessment. Active field service. In it, you'll be given a new name, a new place to live, a new public position. Watching the superior open his file, a new set of data and a brand new name was listed. Xiao Jinglin, long-term human resources management. Bao Lang, may I ask a question? Bao Lang superior. Yes. What's the urgency behind this? The cause is an operation to expose isolated ETO remnants. You will take on a persona of Xiao Jinglin and become a public face using your position, and you will undermine and report ETO activities. So is it more counterterrorism and anti-extremism action? I can't say right now, as we do not know much about the prospect of the ETO state right this way. So, will it get support? Yes, but be covert about it. Is the person unpaired with anyone who has been in service in any governmental branches in the government? No, completely civilian. She will have no idea who you truly are, and not know what you are. So, the Worship Family Foundation not understanding much about ETO or us collect. You are collect. If found out or exposed, used under the proxy's name, not under your real name. If exposed under the proxy's name, you can be given a false death and escape from the situation. But if found under your real name, there's a hard limitation on extraction. Understood. How long do you serve be? As unknown, as long as the stage lasts. Could be as short as a year, could be longer than 5 years. Understood. After receiving the mission, realizing he will be separate from his wife and 2 children for an unknown duration. With your mission, can I get my family to inform them? Given the nature of the action, yes. May I be excused? Oh, yes. You do need to do. Within Bo Wang, his assignment was a major feeling for him. Due to his country, knowing he could die at any moment was a feeling unease. Calling his wife, focusing thoughts with his wife picking up. Yes, darling, what is it? I need to inform you of something important. I will warn you of the discussion coming later. Oh? Your assignment? Yes, it will mean I have to live in a separate from you for a duration. Is this a dangerous assignment? Yes, there is no chance of me coming back alive. For how long? But unknown. Working in a public persona with infiltration mission, as long as it takes to be actually done. I see. I'm worried and concerned of your safety still, if you're going ahead of it. It's part of my job to risk my life, Finn. The very nature of my job is putting my life on the line to protect others. I will do my best to keep in contact with you when I can. Don't assume that it will be in all cases. I understand. Try to come back alive. I intend to. Keep yourself well. One more assignment. We have to go. Oh, something about that sneezing. Oh, I just reset line. I intend to. Keep yourself well. One more assignment. We can go over this in more detail, okay? Okay, see you, darling. As the phone call ended, returning to the superior and confirming he will be accepted Wildwood, every feeling came up. Perspective of Li Mingxu. Following up on the interception from the fleet contacting of ETO members begun, with a line of questioning about who could be behind the propaganda, with the majority now not even knowing of its existence. Sorry. Let's get the time again. With the majority now even knowing of its existence, the survivors, however, had some basic hint that, more so than the speculation, the ranks of the ETO had some survivors from previous attacks done against them. The majority of the information made, some people not within the incidents of the venue of Judgment Day. The state of the ETO is scattered, with some survivors in hiding despite the attempts made. The shadows of the event made some hold more caution towards natural conclusions of being uncontactable. The scattering of flock made tracking down who was behind it hard. The actions of the unorganized remnants negatively impacted the aim of the Reformation. The communication closest to the speculative truth occurred during conversation. ETO survivor. I'm sure you're after tracking down those who are hiding collect. Li Mingxu, that is correct. Is she them hiding? Yes, kind of. In what way? It seems that some services acting in a rogue way as to stir up discontent by using events in a targeted manner. It's leading to our exposure. I see. I guess there is an anger in some people's heart, so there's little to do about that issue. Do you see the rogue element being detrimental to the mission? Yes, it could ruin everything. Are you saying then that the source needs to be put under our direct administration? Yes. Isn't it risky putting people under a central leadership again, especially after Evans? This case now is that it's risky doing anything. With or without central leadership, I am not trying to replace the role of Mike Evans or Ye Luxie, but if the remnants are scattered doing rogue actions, however effective or ineffective, they will demise the advance of our ranks. So what he says then, the people who are rogue within the collective, if they refuse to cooperate, eliminate them as to avoid them exposing us. So, killing our own ranks? How would that help? Killing only to the point where they act a threat. If they are not, don't. Have you told anyone else about this? No, and I don't intend to. Well, I want a group under our direct reporting to me to manage this and not to bother dealing with anyone else. So, monopoly your power under your hands alone. Well, yes. That's only natural. Do you see that any alternative that could help? So, create own secret police to ensure the of the cause. Is that correct? Yes, we need to ensure those who within our ranks won't leak or betray when times get hard. This is how worse than Mike Evans. Is that so? How so? He was thuggish, but he had never had such an intricate system. Yes, he did purge those who were going to sell out the group, but nothing to the extent that you are proposing. I guess so. But still, establish it anyway, as there is a need for it now. It's fine, I guess. But I understand the risks survivors take by refusing contact. Of course, unless you're right. But still, do as I say. Perspective of you now. Calling the phone number of Xiang Xingling within the time listed on his availability. The negotiations of position in second in command in the executive with her internal doubts at the side. Xingling's phone rings. Hello? I was told to contact you about the funding affair. Of course, I was advised to assist you in the development of your group. How are you feeling about the affair? A little shy, to be honest. First time getting some support. It shows that at first, you know. It'll be resolved. It will resolve itself when you start. I'm sure. I just want to ensure that I can do the best for people. We are both here for that, you. Let us work with each other's advantages. Can you send me proof of your qualifications? Of course, I'll send you qualifications after the call. So let's go over what we can do, shall we? Okay. How about you cover membership administration and fees, including payments to people? Continue your human resources job. That is my skill set, so I can cater to that. You manage the public side of things, and myself interior affair management. More exchanges about executive management between you now and Xiang Xinglin happened, as the final details was elaborated over. The concerns about positions was eased, as Xiang Xinglin was generally qualified to incompetent, internally saying, maybe I was mistaken about my feelings. Xiang Xinglin was generally a qualified person, so maybe the government did actually care to give support? Perspective of Bolaang. After a phone call with you now, using under the new persona of Xiang Xinglin, the innocence was not a lie. Either way, I should report back the outcome. Her willingness was fitting to conditions of assignment. Looking on daughter's superior, be reckoned in, being asked, What is it? What is it? You now contacted me. And did she agree to you being in the place as per assignment? Yes. Then the assignment is now officially started. I will relay the confirmation to the party branch and you can go now. Understood, sir. Perspective of proxy. As the mediator between the party and Baozheng, communication with the MSS was set up, waiting for the report from MSS. Working on other tasks, phone ringing with the MSS calling. Bolaang has been contacted. You now? You now. Bolaang has been contacted by you now. Sorry. sorry. I'll say it in live beginning. Something like that. Bolaang has been contacted by you now. Bolaang has been given assignment. Good. Thank you very much for the report. Do you trust Bolaang to manage as well? Yes, I see no reason for him not to do good at his work. Thank you. Then I can pay the service fees for the mediator to you now. The MSS phone call ended, having confirmed that everyone's doing their role, contacting the relevant financial departments, and then Boyoung Baozang to give his payment to contacting the finance affairs. Proxy. Hello. According to the committee meeting, it has progressed well. CPC Regional Branch Financial Secretariat. So you now finally on board with Boyoung within the US. Yes, allocated. Okay, you please send 72,518 and 50 yuan. Perspective of Baozang. With the contact wait period waning, concern was raised knowing full well the dubious nature of the conditions being met. Partial anxiety over the result came over him, breaking through the thought his phone rang with a proxy under a unknown number. Hello, Beanwell. Hello indeed, yes. What's the progress? Any future tasks needed for now? No tasks needed at the moment, Bell. The news came through the department that Xiangjing Lin and you are now collaborating as per contract. Remember how I said this department could completely be rewarded? Yes. Also, does that mean job is done for good? Or is there more duties? Yes, there are more duties, of course, but they'll come later. But for now, nothing. Your award is good, especially jobs getting specialist pay. You will be given, as per allocation, as allowed, 72,518 and 50 yuan. As a reward. Hearing the amount, the reaction was immediate, as that was little money. Baozang, you serious? Very serious. Future jobs will give you good payments as well. Why so much for a phone call meeting? Because if it's got through to her and you got to manage to agree to a position, it is not easy to give her that given her protective nature. Will the tasks get harder going ahead? Yes, I surely you already knew that. After more silence, communication continued. We will contact you for future assignments in relation to you now. Now, on our end, we can manage Xiangjing Lin. With respect to our part, the leadership of the proxy will be under control of who is wanted in control. With that, the phone cut off, with introspection emerging as an aftermath, knowing now he was in a position of death if found out. The nature of such conditions emerged, speaking internally. Now I have a case of direct relation to CBC in some way. If one of the main targets of the ETO extremists, I guess my life is now in control of others. Both the CBC and ETO are able to show me at any time. Have I become a pawn in power games? Later that day, Baozang went to check his bank account, seeing, as was referenced, 72,515 and 50 yuan added at the exact time of the call. Perspective of you now. Having information of Xiangjing Corporation, she was contacted officially by the CPC's Jiangsu Province Committee on the phone. Hello, Miss Yunao. Do you know I've been contacted? Is it about the funding? I would assume. Yes, Miss Yunao. You've been contacted as assigned a beginning funding of 290 and 74 yuan. Some extra funding will come later. With acting as a first down payment. To collect money, you'll need to go to the allocated place to confirm identity. Miss you now. Good luck with the People's Union for Community Development. Thank you. Thank you. I'm really thankful for your help. Miss you now. You and I'll be seeing information about how to get money soon. Once you confirm your authenticity, as per the instructions, the base 209,074 yuan, as well as the follow-up payments, will be approved to your direction. As the last conversation closed up, a feeling of optimism within you now emerged. For the funding path line now made open to her, thinking back at the events, which was over in a flurry of the past few days. A sense that her fate was changed within it. A feeling that she could not describe at the time in any sense. Contacting Xia Jingning was made a priority as to confirm his role and salary can be paid. As to direct funding management to him, saying to herself in exhilaration, I am your now young director of the People's Union for Community Development. My desires to help people can finally happen.